We're in a region where homelessness is a crisis. One thing to know about single adult men's homelessness is that they make up about 2/3 of the homeless population countrywide, and that's fairly true in King County as well. At CFH, our expertise is on single men experiencing homelessness and providing a continuum of care that really helps people go from life on the streets to stable, independent living in housing. Over the life of CFH, we have served 20,000 different individuals who've been able to come through our doors, and many of those have used this as a launching pad back to stability and have never needed homeless services again. Our goal as an agency is to drastically reduce homelessness on the east side. Really what we'd like to get to is functional zero. Investing in this in ways that really address the root causes is going to positively impact all of us.
Today's luncheon is made possible by Steve and Charlotte Roberts, believing all homeless men can be empowered to find their journey home. Proud sponsors also include Symetra, Ann and John Hoosby, Claudia Browers and Dave Holzboot, Sterling and Nadine BENTSEN, COURSHON Family Fund, Davis Wright Tremaine, LLP.
Welcome to the Journey Home, our annual fundraising event for Congregations for the Homeless. I'm Larry Snyder, your host, and I'm so grateful to be back here again making a difference today. It seems like everything in the world has changed. The one thing that hasn't changed is Congregations for the Homeless's commitment to caring for over 2,000 men who are experiencing homelessness on the east side every year. In the next 30 minutes, you're going to hear stories of loss, stories of redemption, and stories of love. I want to call your attention to a link that is just below me. That is where you will make your contributions today.
Please help us collectively raise $165,000 and meet our fundraising goal today.
Let's take a moment here and say thank you to some of our CFH friends that have made today's event possible.
Steve and Charlotte Roberts, Symetra, Ann and John Hoosby, Claudia Browers and Dave Holzboot, Sterling and Nadine BENTSEN, COURSHON Family Fund, Davis Wright Tremaine, LLP. Thank you again. We could not do our work without you.
Now let's hear from one of the men served by CFH.
It's really hard for me to put it into words how grateful I am, because I know how it is to be alone all night, pouring rain or snow in your vehicle with nowhere to go, where you'd wish you'd just rather be dead than put up with this. It's so hard to take, and at 53 years old, that's not the time to learn how to become homeless. I've been brought back to health. I have a good, safe place to go with a good crew around me. There's nothing else like it I've ever seen.
It's stories like that that inspire all of us. It wouldn't be a Congregation for the Homeless event without a word from our special friend, Sterling BENTSEN. Sterling?
Thank you, Larry. Good afternoon, everyone. For 11 years, I've appeared in front of you for the CFH Luncheon, but this year it's going to be totally different. COVID-19 has affected all of us in different ways. Our staff and our men are all concerned of the impact that it's having on you. For many years, I've talked about what a great staff that we have at CFH. I'm so proud of them for the work that they've done this year with all the expanded services that we are providing because of COVID-19. As many of you know, my son is an ER physician up at Evergreen Hospital in Kirkland. My son has seen that COVID-19 is not an equal opportunity virus. It hits people of color and people with very little resources at a much larger rate. And homeless men are part of this population. Folks, I hope you're all enjoying a wonderful lunch. while we're doing this virtual luncheon for CFH. But I want to think of the men that without your support would not be able to have food, shelter, or health, or a community that we provide.
My parents had passed away, both within a month's time of each other, and I was a caretaker for 15 years. So you can well imagine I had nowhere to go and nothing to do. My mother and my father were in Manzanar concentration camp. My father was a war hero in the 442nd Battalion. It was the most decorated battalion in all of U.S. Army history. Considering what my parents' hardships were at such a young age, it gives me reflection and pause for thought to how truly lucky I am. For you see, were it not for the advocacy of men like Barrett Compton, Mike Moberly, and everybody else on staff, an old man like me wouldn't have a stab or a second chance at life. So with all due respect, sincerely, thank you so much for this program.
Thank you for your support. Now let's all work together and support CFH as we help the men on their journey home. At this time, I'd like to introduce Eric Ballantyne. Eric has been with us the past few years, and he's doing some very special projects with our CFH community.
In light of COVID-19, I, along with the CFH community, have evolved our services to provide the best services possible for the men that they deserve. We do this with programming, incorporating the thoughts and minds of the men that we serve on a daily basis. Programs such as our Black Men of Excellence group, which helps amplify the voices of our Black men that we serve. We listen and hold conversations and help facilitate and amplify their voices to communities and audiences that they felt like wouldn't listen to them in the past. We do this as a responsibility of an organization that strives to push forward in the field of racial equity, but we recognize that in order for us to do that, we must first listen, then speak, and then act. We'd like to share a story of one man's journey. Cliff's story is phenomenal, and it paints a beautiful picture of one man's journey through CFH. Although each man's journey is unique to them, the destination remains the same, and that's creating a path out of homelessness. We do this with multiple programs that we hold here at CFH. We meet them where they're at, we help them identify goals, identify barriers, and we walk them through it to get them out of that. It's a side-by-side mutual relationship that we strive for to give the best services that our men deserve and get them out of homelessness.
The first time you're homeless, everything scares you. You're like, am I gonna get stabbed? Am I gonna get shot? Am I gonna freeze to death? And then you hear somebody drive by and go, get a job. And it's like, I'm trying to, but I can't. I can't get a job because I can't get a shower because I can't get a place to stay. Homelessness can happen to anybody. It happened to me. I was born in Germany on an American military base. And my dad being military, we bounced around from between Europe and America throughout my childhood. I always seemed to have problems with my anger growing up. I like to call it the Hulk syndrome, in that what would happen was I would get angry. And when I got angry, I would just start raging. I would say things, I would do things, I would hit things. There would be the logical part of my brain would be sitting here inside my body saying, stop, stop, stop. And I couldn't. My body had taken over. Ultimately, due to this undiagnosed mental health issue that I was having, I ended up losing friends, family, jobs, housing, everything at times. It was just an endless cycle of me trying to get on my feet and falling flat on my face. I was in and out of different shelters and other programs. And I finally ended up coming to Seattle. It was staying in Tent City, and I ended up getting into an argument with one of the other residents there. And because of that, I ended up getting kicked out and forced me to find another place. And when I did, I found CFH. When I got to CFH, I got David Bowling. He was not afraid to shake my hand. He had a smile on his face. He just was very open and honest with me. He basically just wanted to know if I really wanted help. And I was like, I want to get off the streets. I'm sick and tired of being homeless. He told me that I'd meet with the case manager after a couple of days, and that was when the shock happened. Because the first thing she said to me is like, okay, let's build your program. And I was like, what? And then she explained that they don't have one program, they build a program to fit your issues. When they said that to me, you could have knocked me over with a feather because it was so revolutionary. I've been to so many different states in so many different programs. I had never seen anything like that. I applied and got disability immediately. They helped me get financially stable. They helped me with my weight management. They helped me get set up with housing. They helped me get set up with some of the life skills that I was needing. CFH really taught me how to take care of myself and helped me kind of grow as a person. I'd had a really bad day and ended up in an argument with someone and got myself kicked out of CFH. Spent 3 months living out of my car, and afterwards I came back to CFH because I wanted to try again. And part of the requirements for me to get back in is I had to get into therapy to get that under control.
We were able to get him hooked up with services with, I believe that's Valley Cities, to get a diagnosis and get him on some medications. And from there, he's been able to work on the other things in his life.
Doing good, doing good. I still see a therapist to this day. That, more than anything, is what changed my life. But CFH never gave up on me.
Well, we understand the complexity of homelessness, and so we want to recognize that trauma, whatever you're going through, and walk alongside you to get you through it.
As we gain more ability to function back in society, we gain more independence by growing into group housing and then into individual housing and then eventually into our own housing. I am certain that they saved my life. I'm going to be forever grateful for that. I'm secure. I'm no longer homeless. I'm no longer homeless. Wow.
I think you'll agree that stories like Cliff's are the reason why we support congregations for the homeless. I mentioned earlier I would give you some specifics on how to contribute today. The link below me, cfhomeless.org/give2020, is the donation site of our event today. Please know that every contribution is important today as we collectively reach our $165,000 fundraising goal.
Thank you, Larry, for sharing the wonderful accomplishments of CFH to date. I now have the privilege of sharing with you the amazing vision of CFH for the future, where it can even more significantly and greatly impact the lives of men in our community.
CFH knows simply that you cannot end homelessness in a silo, that you actually need to draw on those around us. I mean, no single person does it alone.
And yet men tend to buy into that myth that men need to be strong, men need to be leaders, men need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, all those awkward things.
We see men coming in all the time that could have avoided homelessness if they reached out for help earlier. And that gives us an opportunity to kind of work on some of those messages and help rebuild them and give them the support they need to reestablish in the community.
So in that recognition that community has to be involved, CFH really has an open arms policy to bringing people in.
A job, housing, support are the top 3 things people need. And sometimes you can't get the job without housing, or you can't get the housing without a job, and we can provide one of those. What I love about MAUD and our culture is that we believe talent is everywhere, but opportunity isn't. We're so proud of our partnership with CFH. We have given 25 men already opportunities at MAUD, but we can't do it without the support of partners and the wraparound services, too, that CFH provides.
The unfortunate reality is the need has grown significantly. We're in a region where homelessness is a crisis. We need more shelter and having a wider range of affordable housing.
I was extremely excited and inspired to join the team of architects bringing this new shelter to CFH and to the East King County community for a lot of reasons, but primarily because of CFH's commitment to seeing community as part of the solution.
CFH really sees this shelter as a huge part of our future because this is going to be the place where we often do the first engagement with somebody who's fallen into homelessness. We're going to have housing right next door with almost 100 units there. We're going to have a streamlined place of efficiency. Right now, they have to go all over the community sometimes to access these places that they need in order to address barriers. We're bringing them all on one site. All the support's needed to help a man launch back out into the community, out into employment and stable housing.
So one of the things that this building right from the beginning was meant to do was to invite community in and to not just see it as a place for those that are homeless, but actually a community building. And the reason this is important is that we need to tear down this idea of the other, the separation that exists between the housed and the unhoused. There is an amphitheater on the south side of the building, which is the sun-filled side, that has seating for gathering, vegetable gardens, and a bridge that crosses that allows people to see each other and interact. Once you come into the building, there is an invitation to come into a shared space that is both dining and multifunctional. So, at every step, the idea was to bring community into the process, to not shut them out, to not make it a mystery.
That's so powerful. That sends a very clear message of, you matter to me.
So this new CFH shelter will have many ripples, right? Many beautiful ripples. Our community is not just one that is successful, but also is compassionate and caring. And that at the end of the day, those are the values that matter most. It may not look like much now, but this is the future.
I am so excited about sharing with you the future of CFH, partnering with all these amazing organizations in our community with the goal of getting to functional zero for homelessness on the east side. You may be wondering how I got involved in CFH. Over the years of serving dinners to men at CFH, I'd wear my CFH apron, which says, "Changing homelessness one man at a time." And my one man then became a former student of mine. Having dinner one night with this young man named George, we reconnected And immediately I recalled all the challenges George had had in his life. Premature birth, sickle cell anemia, an unstable family life. George had a lot of challenges. I watched George struggle through the program. He did not take a smooth and a fast path, but the beauty and the value and the uniqueness of the CFH program is it welcomed him back graciously, even when he failed. So eventually George did follow his heart, find his passion. He became a chef and he was very successful. He moved out of state, got married, had a child, and came back to CFH to show his wife who saved his life. He walked into David Bowling's office and he said, I needed to show her that you saved my life. That still brings tears to my eyes and an amazing feeling to my heart. The quality of the program, the fact that George, a kid I had taught in school, his life was changed and saved by CFH. It is clearly underlined for me that the CFH model is so comprehensive and most effective at bringing complete restoration to the lives of the men they serve. What makes CFH so unique is how it genuinely cares for each man in a very holistic way, for their mental health, their physical health, and their vision for their lives. It helps them rediscover their passions, possibly find new passions, bringing men back into the life they envision, from homelessness to housing. I hope that you will consider what I've shared with you about my one man, George, and think today, how can I help save a life? How can I have that feeling that I've made a difference in my community, particularly in difficult, dark times? Think of what it sounds like to hear, you saved my life. And please join me in supporting men in the program now and my friend George.
Thank you, Claudia, for every aspect of CFH's work that you support. We are so grateful and it is so inspiring. As I mentioned before, there's a specific link we're asking you to donate to today. That's cfhomeless.org/give2020. It takes all of us to solve homelessness on the East Side, and that includes our business community. To share how that collaboration with Congregations for the Homeless is possible, please welcome Vince Orgavon. Vince?
Thank you, Larry. In 2014, I retired from Microsoft to go to cooking school at Le Cordon Bleu. After graduation, I volunteered at the Congregations for the Homeless Men's Day Center in Bellevue. It was eye-opening. The environment at Microsoft is very privileged, and what I saw at CFH was part of the other end of the spectrum. Homelessness is a big problem. Nationwide, over 500,000 people are homeless, but here in King County, it's 11,000. Now, I know some people think that they shy away from interacting with homeless people, feeling that they're somehow so different from you and I. But that's not what the data shows, nor is that my experience. Here in King County, over 70% of the people experiencing homelessness are not chronically homeless. They are our neighbors who hit a rough patch and claw their way briefly through homelessness back to being our neighbors, and they need our help to do that.
I ended up here through a medical issue that I had. I had a stroke, lost my job. Then I moved in with my gal friend, and she ended up passing away of a heart attack, which left me residentially challenged, as they say, homeless. Homelessness can happen to anybody at any time. This certainly was not on my list of events growing into my 60s. Bad things happen to good people, especially with the environment the way it is right now. It's crazy times. Anybody could be homeless at any moment. I'm living proof of that. CFH is the champagne of shelters. It has to be. The caseworkers and the site managers all have a part, an integral part of working with each individual client to address their needs. And there's nothing like staying in CFH when you're down. I'm good.
These people remind me that we really can make a difference by partnering with the men, not a handout, but a help up. I also want to remind you that businesses have a big role to play in this. The healthy community is a lot of factors. It's education, it's transportation, it's affordable housing, but it's also the safety net provided by organizations like CFH that helps the whole community to prosper. Businesses can help with corporate grants, with donation of services, with matching gift programs, and all of those are needed. You know, we are so blessed here on the East Side. So many of us have so much. Please share what you can with Congregations for the Homeless to take care of our neighbors in need. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. We are so fortunate to have so many generous corporations right here in our own community. Please remember to fill out your corporate matching paperwork after you make your own gift to CFH today. Here are a number of ways that your gift can impact the great work at Congregations for the Homeless and help us reach our $165,000 collective fundraising goal.
For $25,080, you can impact 1,000 hours of support for men seeking to address their barriers to stability. For $16,489, you can provide a year of housing stability and case management. For $9,973, you can provide a healthy dinner for 80 men in emergency shelter 1 day per week for 12 months. For $5,011, you can impact case management and mental health. For $2,512, you can provide housing navigation services for 20 people. For $1,275, you can provide 1 month of emergency shelter services for a man. At $610, you can provide COVID relief, cost for staffing and services for 25 medically vulnerable men sheltering in a hotel. For $252, you can provide COVID relief in the form of disposable masks for approximately 3 days for the men in the shelter.
Now, here are some of my favorite friends and clients of CFH who would like to say thank you.
I would like to thank CFH and the churches that have been hosting us for literally saving my life.
Thank you, CFH.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, CFH.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From all of us house manager, thank you so much.
Thank you, CFH, for everything you've done for me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending the virtual version of our annual Congregations for the Homeless Luncheon. You made a huge difference today. Thank you so much for doing that. One more reminder about the link below me, cfhomeless.org/give2020. Thank you so much for helping these men on their journey home.